CIO News. I am Khushbu Soni, your host for the broadcast and chief editor at CIO News. Welcome to our new digital dialogue series powered by McAfee. This is a recorded session and will be available on our website, which is cionews.co.in, and our CIO News LinkedIn handle. I'm extremely delighted to invite our guest for today, Mr. Vinod Bhatt, Chief Information Officer at Tata SIA Airlines. Mr. Bhatt is a business leader with 28 years of extensive experience in driving digital business transformations, leveraging digital technologies, managing relationships at CXO level, P&L ownership for global business, driving business strategy, planning, sales, delivery, operations with deep understanding of the industry and global team dynamics. Mr. Bhatt is an experienced leader in delivering business transformation engagements for customers in a global outsourcing model leveraging digital technologies with a global exposure of in regions like US, Canada, UK, Europe, APAC geographies for more than 15 years. Mr. Bhatt, it's an absolute pleasure to have you today.
Thank you for having me, Khushbu. Pleasure.
So along with me today is Daryush Ashari, the head enterprise business at McAfee for South Asia. Daryush is the head of pre-sales engineering across Asia Pacific region at McAfee with since 2010 and based in Sydney. Daryush is responsible for engineering and technical operations in the Asia Pacific region for McAfee. His team is also responsible for developing technical field resources used within McAfee. He's an IT industry veteran with more than 30 years of rich experience in a range of enterprise class disciplines and multinational IT solution providers. Daryush, it's a pleasure to have you.
Pleasure is all mine, and thank you for having me.
All right, so so I would like to begin, with our first question to you, Mr. Bhatt, on the comprehensive and integrated endpoint platform. So, wanted to understand what are your views on developing a unified defense to protect every endpoint from device to cloud?
Thank you, Khushbu. Last, I would say, 18 months have been, I would say, biggest digital disruption or transformation which has happened to every industry, and airlines is no different. So we have, instances where people can work from home, from office, remote locations, vendor locations, and so on and so forth. So the impact from the employee or the user perspective was there, and also from the organization point of view also there, where organizations also need to worry about the new boundary, which was literally beyond the typical, enterprise boundary, and also look at, security in more details. So while it was a different experience for the users, like, working from home through VPN and other things, but for us, looking at it more holistically from, the firewall perspective, what is the traffic which is moving in the firewall, the end devices from the data loss prevention perspective, how is the WAN doing in terms of the whole networking traffic of pure network or the application data, and also the whole DNS stuff, and where you can put the zero trust into the network, where the whole identity, the location, the context is completely understood. And we are already on cloud, so having the whole cloud security policies, very important. So if you look at holistically, that a new norm, a new, I would say, approach to security architecture has evolved, I would say last 18 months. And it has really pushed organizations to look at holistically. We are no different from that, and we are, already on the journey. So my view perspective, yes, we need to look at security more holistically, not only in networking isolation, but also the whole controls which are putting in place. So the data protection as part of it. So it needs to be seen holistically. Yes, there will be a lot of questions asked on the individual landscape within the organization, but I think approach has to be holistic.
Very true, very true. Dajesh, your thoughts on the same?
I completely agree with the comments mentioned with Mr. Bhatt. So it's all about awareness, visibility, and being able to control your infrastructure and your data. And we know that in recent years, many aspects has forced us to look at the notion of computing very differently. COVID definitely has had some contribution to this. Nevertheless, we are on the new frontiers now, and we need to have a complete set of visibility around who creates data, who uses it, how it's transmitted between 2 points, where it's stored at, and being able to have that complete visibility and align it with the control, which is very in line with the risk appetite of the organization. So it requires a very end-to-end approach, and providing and giving it a point solution just to, I guess, fill the gap, it's not highly desirable. So our recommendation is the holistic approach, that it's multi-layer, offers protection, offers detection, offers remediation, and analytics to be ahead of the game.
Very true. Couldn't agree more. I think, like you mentioned, I think unified approach is the way forward. I think these have been wonderful insights. I'm sure our viewers are going to get good information from this interview today. So I would like to thank both of you. Thank you, Mr. Bhatt. Thank you, Dajesh, for joining us today on this platform for this interview and sharing all your insights and experience with us on CIO News.
Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.